So basically, where I want to start the conversation is, of course, with the new album with the Judas Paradox,
Yeah.
and the question that I find always interesting, because especially when with you being a band for over 30 years now, how does it feel to have a new album out, expect your CDs, LPs, to have them in your hands? Is it always like the first time, or is it changed over the years?
Uh, at a certain point you get used to it, I must admit, but it's still special because you get a product in your hand, which is special in itself nowadays,
Yeah.
because so many people don't even get a product in their hands anymore. They're just listening to a stream online. So I can tell you that when I received the CDs and the vinyl and the cassettes, we also have cassettes.
Ah.
It's funny. It's nice. You take it, you look at it like, oh wow, this is great stuff. Of course, it's not as special as when in 1996 when we were signed to Metal Blade, and then we got the first copies of the new album. We
Yeah.
were like jumping around like little children. And that's something that does not happen anymore. But I'm still excited to see the finished product and to see if it turned out great and things like that. Yeah, of course, because it is beautiful to have it in your hands.
Yeah, I get it. Also, do you make it a point to have all the editions, all the re-releases on CD, on vinyl in your collection for yourself?
Yeah, on vinyl especially. Metal Blade has never done re-releases on CD. They just keep on pressing the original ones.
Yeah.
But there have been quite a few re-releases on vinyl, and it's nice to get them because sometimes the sleeves are different. Like, for example, there was a record label from the Netherlands, from my country, who did a re-release for Grand Grimoire, Bloody Blasphemy, and Ravenous. They had different types of colors, like orange and red and blue, and also splatter. And the sleeves were like satin finish instead of the high gloss uh, vinyl covers that you
Yeah,
see
yeah.
usually. So it was like beautiful, and that's really cool to have.
Good. Now tell me, now that you're mentioning Metal Blade, of course you are not on Metal Blade anymore, but you first signed with Atomic Fire, which then got somehow swallowed into Raining Phoenix. How did that transition work for the band?
Yeah, we had been at Metal Blade for 25 years. We owe everything to Metal Blade. They made us the band that we are today. So we owe a lot to that label. But after 25 years, it's not a wise decision to stay. As a matter of fact, we should have left after 20 years probably. But um, we could have done that if we had finished the last album earlier. But of course, it took a while. So, but after 20 to 25 years, you need to change because there is no challenge anymore. The thing is that uh, everything stays the same. We do a new album, and Metal Blade puts it out. Everybody is doing what's expected by them or from them. But now we signed to Raining Phoenix. They want to show us how good they are, and we want to show them how good we are. Yeah, we are a professional
Yeah,
band.
yeah,
We have
yeah.
everything perfectly in order, and they are like, oh yeah, we want to show the band that we do a good job in promotion and distribution. So now something exciting is happening.
Uh-huh.
Everybody's trying their best to get the maximum out of it. And with Metal Blade, they did their thing and they also did a good job, but there was nothing special anymore. There was no spark anymore.
Yeah, I get it. I get it. Yeah. And now that you mention it, it is a maximum effort, and uh, well, diving into the new album, I find it a very maximized album, for lack of a better word, because every aspect that made God Dethroned is now elevated to a higher level. Because I find the aggressive parts even more aggressive, the melodies further developed, the atmosphere better executed. Um, it's just the album itself is just put to the maximum. Do you find it that way? Can you agree with me?
Yes, but I can tell you, I am very happy that you are the one telling this to me instead of me being the one saying that to you, because I'm not objective anymore. I have heard the song so many times.
Yeah.
Not only did we write the songs as a band, but we also recorded them as a band, and I did the mix myself. So I heard the songs so many times. Of course, I'm really satisfied about it. But how can I say to you that we maximized the execution of the songs this time? I cannot say that. I need you or other people to say that, because that makes sense. You know, if you say that, it makes me completely and totally, utterly happy, because that's what I wanted to achieve.
Yeah.
So and I am very happy with the album, how it turned out. The songs are great. They are to the point. In the past, we sometimes made the mistake that a song would be too long. We repeated something too often or whatever. And this time, in my opinion, we managed to keep everything as compact as possible. Um, we didn't try to be extremely catchy, but at the same time, the songs turned out to be very catchy, very memorable. You know, the melodies, the atmosphere, everything's very memorable. Um, so yes, I think it's a great album, but it's more important for me to hear from other people that they think it's a great album.
Well, it is. To my ears, it is perhaps the best you recorded. But now that you mentioned that, do you ever, or in this album or previous ones, stop like in the middle just to ponder on what you've already done and see if it all fits together nicely? Do you stop halfway through the mix or the recording and just hear these songs and say, "Hey, these songs are really good"?
Usually, when we write songs and we finish a song, then it is definitely good enough. If we are working on a song that we have doubts about, it will never get finished. So the only songs that end up on the record are the songs that we really have a strong and good feeling about. And then during the mixing process, you try to enhance it, you try to make it better, to make it sound as good as possible. But it's never that during the mixing process it's like, ooh, this song should never have been on the album, because we already know when we write the songs and compose the songs that it's good enough, and that helps a lot. Otherwise, if you put songs on the album that you don't like yourself, that's really terrible. It gives you a very bad feeling.
Yeah, I get it. I also, speaking of the album, I also find the Judas Paradox to be well, a bit more on the black metal side of things. I often think of like Belphegor, to a point where you, like I said, you maximize it, and now it's really out there with Belphegor in terms of being extremely brutal with with everything, with black metal being out there almost like almost taking charge in a couple of moments. And then hubris anorexia is like I don't know how to describe the song, because it is it's just all over the place, and yet it's right there. It's compact. It's put together. It flows nicely. But how can I say? It's almost theatrical. It's grandiose. Um, do you find the scale on which black metal does the trick or death metal does the trick, or do you even think about these things?
No, not even. No. You know, I just start playing, and then the ideas will come by itself. But I have a certain way of getting a song. Usually, I have an image in my head, or I have a title. Sometimes I have a title. Let's say the Judas Paradox is a title I had, and then when I have the title, I have a picture in my head what it looks like. It's like I'm inventing the title for a movie, and then I see the picture in my head of a movie. And when I see the picture of the movie, then I start writing music that belongs to the pictures I get in my head. Then it all makes sense. Then I know that the song should be atmospheric or aggressive or more death metal or more black metal. And when I've written or composed the music, then I will write the lyrics. But that's my way. I have like a vision, like a real vision, like a picture. I see a picture, I think, wow. And the picture is called Hubris Anorexia, or the picture is called Red Kingdom. Or the other way around. I have a title, then I get a picture, and then I know what type of music I have to write. That's how I work. It's very strange, probably, but that's how it works for me.
So it actually explains a lot. I mean, hearing songs like Kashmir Princess, uh, like where did that come from? It's well, it's got an Oriental line
Yeah, and
gliding
that's
all the
true.
way through it. And I was going to ask about Led Zeppelin. I mean,
Yeah.
was it Led Zeppelin or was it a fairy tale that you saw on television?
No, no, it was something else. It was Kashmir Princess was the first lyrics that I wrote for the album, and I didn't have the music yet. It's I started writing lyrics or collecting lyrics for that specific song, but the music wasn't there. That's something very unusual for me. But I had an idea, and the idea was I wanted to take conspiracy theories and write songs about that. Okay, so I found something about an airplane, and the airplane was called Kashmir Princess. It was an airplane in Asia, and it was filled with people from governments. It was shot down from the sky and never found back. Typical conspiracy theory. And I found out that the stories were so crazy. I thought, like, how am I going to use this for a song? And then I thought, well, you know what? I'm going to make it even more crazy. So I mixed the song, the text, the lyrics about an aeroplane that got shot from the sky. I mixed it with a female, with a woman who is the Kashmir Princess, and I mixed it all up, and I made something even more weird out of it, and I used that as the lyrics for that song. And then I thought, okay, this is not going to work. If I have to fill a whole album with crazy stuff like this, then everybody will think, what the fuck is wrong with that guy, you know? So it was just one song, and it has this Oriental feel. That's just completely true. And it is about a conspiracy theory from Asia about an airplane that got shot from the sky. And I made it into a woman who was penetrated by a phallus symbol like a rocket.
Wow.
And yeah, I mixed all kinds of bullshit together, you know?
Okay, that's good. That's good because well, I didn't get the lyrics, and
No, I
that's
totally
the
understand. I totally understand. It doesn't make sense. I remember our drummer saying to me, Henry, I don't understand the lyrics. I said, great. That's the meaning behind it, because there is nothing to understand. The story itself is stupid, and I made something even more crazy out of it. So there is nothing to understand. He said, oh, okay, now I feel fine.
okay. So I'm on the right track.
Yeah.
Tell me, if I'm not mistaken, Frank debuts on this album, right?
Yeah, he does, yes.
Yeah. Did he also take part in the creation process, or did he come to the because well, these songs you started creating them in like 2 or 3 years ago.
Well, there was one song that we created earlier on. It was the single Asmodeus, which we gave to the record label as a welcoming gift for signing us. That was the first song, and we re-recorded it for the new album. But the songs, the bulk of the songs was written somewhere in the fall until early 2024. So we started writing most of the songs for this album starting in August, September last year until January of this year. And then we started recording. Frank was already in the band in, I think, March, April 2020. So he's already in the band for 4 years. And so, yes, he did contribute. He, I would play my guitar riffs and he would say, oh, I'm going to play this and this. So I could listen to it and say, okay, that's fine. Or maybe you can change this and this. But he's a very natural drummer. He feels what's right for a song. He knows how to play it, that he can reproduce it live. So he all the things he's playing on the album, he will do live exactly the same, no problem. And that's what I like about him. He has, on one hand, a very laid-back style. It's like it's easy to follow him. It's easy to play the songs together with him. And at the same time, he manages to play very aggressive. His drum fills are very pointy and very aggressive. And he has a very aggressive drum style, and he is laid back at the same time.
Yeah, it adds to the dynamics of the songs, and
Yeah.
the influence of the drummer is often unrecognized in just like those drum fills, just highly important.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah. And do you follow what Michael is doing with Pestilence, if I'm not mistaken? And
Yeah, he's playing with Pestilence. I see something every now and then. We haven't spoken in a couple of years, which is a pity on one hand, and it's something that happens sometimes, But I think in the end we will meet again and speak again. He lives on the other side of the country, so we don't run into each other, That's the
yeah,
thing.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
But I'm happy to see that he's doing well.
That's the most important part.
Yeah.
Um, uh, you mentioned earlier that you handled all the mixing and whatever. From what I understood, you had issues with Illuminati with the producer, was it, or something?
Yeah.
Um, did that well, an unfortunate instance give you a lesson in doing everything yourself, or did you play around with the idea earlier on in?
Well, it was a long time wish for me to be able to mix my own albums. Um, but it's not so easy. It was something I had to learn, and I started with it years ago. I was just mixing our demos, and that's all I did. And then during the pandemic, I was sitting at home. I couldn't do much, and I decided to dive deep into the whole mixing process. So when we did Asmodeus, the single for Raining Phoenix in 2022, it was my first proper production. Of course, two years later, I thought, oh, I can do a lot better, so I'm going to do a new version of that song for the album. But I managed to learn more and more during the pandemic. I had the experience of the guy who completely destroyed the mix for Illuminati. And then I had to go to a friend to do a new mix, but without any budget because the whole budget was gone.
Yeah.
So it was a terrible time. It took a lot of time. And I couldn't do everything myself during the Illuminati process. So I thought if I can do it myself, then I don't have to ask somebody to help me. I don't have to translate my ideas to a producer, and he thinks in a certain way and does it in his way, and probably have something else in my mind. So I thought I'm going to give it a try, and I did. And I started mixing for the Judas Paradox. I sent a mix to the band, and I said to the guys, "What do you think of this?" and everybody was like, "Wow, this sounds great." And that's when we decided that I should do the whole mix, and that we should not find a different producer, but just let me do the job. And yeah, the record label is really happy with it. The band is really happy with it. I'm happy with it. So I think, yeah, I'm happy that I got the chance to do this. And
Do you
now I want
think
to do more for other bands.
do you think it would be your job for the future as well, or do you see the band shopping around for different guys if there's a possibility?
You mean different guys to do the mix for the
Yeah,
future?
yeah, yeah.
Well, it depends. You know, sometimes it's. I was happy I could do it myself, but it brings a lot of pressure on me because everybody expects something really good, so it brings a lot of pressure. So in that sense, it's easier to find someone who's really good and who can do a good job. But I would love to do it again myself, and I also, and I'm already doing that. I'm doing mixes for other bands as well, because they heard what I do and they like it, and they say, "Hey man, can you do our mix as well?" And I said, "Yeah, of course, I like to do it. I love to do it." So it would be, it's a goal for me to do this professionally for the rest of my life. Yes.
You do own the equipment,
Yeah,
everything you need.
I have everything I need. Yes.
Oh, brilliant. Okay, back to the album and to the point of lyrics. Um, well, Illuminati and now the Judas Paradox. Looking for, like you said, conspiracy theories, mysticism, the occult, the hidden stuff.
Uh-huh.
Where do you find the inspiration? Do you watch movies, documentaries, whatever? Da Vinci Code.
Yeah, I do watch movies definitely, and it brings inspiration. That's for sure. Usually, I try to come up with an idea. Like I said, I have a picture in my head. I think, movie. This is the title. I know what the subject should be, and then I do research. That's basically what I do most. I do research on the internet. I have a topic. It may be the Illuminati? Okay, then I want to know everything about the Illuminati. It may be the Eye of Horus or the Eye of Providence. Okay, so I look up all the information I can get about the Eye of Providence, and I find out that it has to do with Egyptian mythology. It's an all-seeing eye. Okay, so I want to write the lyrics about it, and I will find out as much as I can about it. So all the things that I'm writing are correct as much as possible.
Yeah.
Same with the Judas Paradox, the story about Judas. I started doing research, and I found out there's two stories about Judas in the Bible. I didn't know that. Many people don't know it, but it's in the Bible. You can just find it in the Bible. So I found out by doing research, which helps me to write lyrics that are accurate, which are the
Yeah.
lyrics are have historical truth to them, and that's what I like. And so movies are great for if you want to write pure fiction. I like to include some true story in my lyrics, and therefore it's better to do research.
Yeah, the Judas Paradox and the Hanged Man is also about Judas, right?
Yeah, the Hangman is about the tarot card, the Hangman.
Uh-huh.
And in the tarot card, the Hangman is also described as Judas Iscariot.
Uh-huh.
So it has a double meaning. So it's about the tarot card, and the tarot card, the Hangman, is also compared to Judas Iscariot. So that's why you hear it in the lyrics.
Yeah, okay, okay, that's good. The lyrics didn't come in the promotional pack. They never do these days.
Ah,
And so it's not a comment on your label. Nobody does it anymore.
ah.
So I tried to come up with ideas, but I actually the story about Judas Judas Paradox actually got me to explore because I never heard that story before God Dethroned. So I found a book that is called Secrets of Judas, and that works out the same ideas you are singing about. So
Yeah.
yeah, I was happy about it because these are the topics I also love. Of course, the World Wars too. So you can imagine my infatuation with God Dethroned over the years.
Yeah.
Um, Tell me, and I'm just leaving the new album. The first time I heard God Dethroned, it was on a compilation CD that went with a magazine. It was like 2004, 2005. It was loyal to the God to the crown of God Dethroned.
Uh-huh.
Um, Never-ending debate whether the internet is better or physical format is better or whatever. But do you get the information of how well are you doing on streaming services or Spotify or something like that? And does it come to your mind if somebody says like, "Oh yeah, I heard it on some Spotify playlist about your band"?
Yeah. Well, I know that more and more people nowadays hear you on Spotify only. Um, we are lucky that we can say that still a lot of people are buying our CDs and vinyl, and now we also have cassettes again, which is great. But yeah, a lot of people listen to Spotify and Spotify only. That makes it difficult sometimes because we are working hard to do 10 or 11 songs on an album, and then as a lot of people only hear one or two songs because it's single and it's in a playlist. That makes it very difficult for me. We put an album together for the fans who listen from the beginning until the end, and we take them through all the emotions that an album brings. So yeah, I if we do albums, I want people to hear the whole album, but unfortunately, that's not always the case anymore. So I'm writing so many songs, and a lot of people are only hearing a few, and that's yes, I don't like that very much. But if that's the new reality, then that's okay. But then I would prefer to do a new single every 2 months and not do a whole album anymore.
Yeah,
If you know what I mean?
yeah, it makes sense. I mean, it doesn't make sense, but it makes sense in some way or another. I mean, yeah, like you said, it's 12 songs, and somebody hears one, and then they come to the show, and oh, why didn't you play that one? Do
Yeah.
you ever get those?
Well, no, it's not that bad. Of course, there's always somebody coming to me and ask me, "Why didn't you play that and that song?" I'm sorry, man. We have 12 albums. We cannot play everything. So, but yeah, but most of the time, people are having a great time at the shows, and I think there's even a difference between people who come to the shows and people who listen to Spotify. I have the feeling that the people who come to the shows are the people who have listened to the whole album. So in that sense, it's great that we are still doing the full albums because those are the people that come to the shows.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I do hope you're right, but in new times, who knows where we'll be in like 10 years,
Yeah,
or
I
something
totally
like
agree.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, sort of a personal question. You've been to Belgrade twice, to my town.
Yeah.
Last one, it was like a couple of weeks before COVID hit and closed
Yeah.
everything. And I have a photo with you guys from that show, and you were kind enough to sign my CDs and everything. Um, but a part of that, what was the worst thing you experienced while in Serbia? First time or second time or whatever?
Well, that time was my second time, and I didn't experience anything negative. I remember the first time we played Serbia. We had a lot of trouble with the customs.
Oh,
I had all my paperwork in order, so I just needed a stamp, and they would pretend that they didn't know what to do, and of course they knew, but they want or money or they want
yeah,
CDs and T-shirts. So I gave them CDs and T-shirts, and but the thing is, the customs in Serbia are very negative. They're a bit uh, violent sometimes, or they scream at you. I don't know why. It's probably all maybe because of the war from a long time ago. Um, but that's the only thing. I mean, once you're in Serbia, it's a beautiful country. I think Beograd or Belgrade is a beautiful city. I like the people. The fans were great. So once you're in the country, it's beautiful to be there.
yeah.
But to get in and out the country with the customs is a bit strange.
Yeah, yeah, I mean, especially when there's no custom services around Europe anymore. But
Yeah,
and we are just surrounded with borderlines.
yeah.
Um, Regarding Dutch scene in the Netherlands, do you have time to follow it? For the last couple of years, I've had chance to hear a whole lot of great black metal bands. I mean, we all know the big death metal bands, the Sinister, God Dethroned, Asphyx, and everything. But black metal bands like Samath or Asgrau recently, The Color of Rain, Valg, they've been putting out great albums for the past couple of years. Do you have time to check it out, to follow it, to maybe go to a gig or two?
Yeah, I do check it out. I know some of the people of those bands that you just mentioned. They're all good friends of mine. I do check it out. I haven't seen all of the bands live yet because some bands don't play live, like Valk. They, for
Yeah.
example, they do not play live. Um, but they're great people. I know them very well. And some other bands are playing outside the Netherlands more than they're playing inside
Yeah.
the Netherlands. The same goes for us, by the way. So I haven't seen them all live, but I heard some of the bands, and yeah, they are really good. Uh, I think we have a very strong black metal scene at the moment from the Netherlands.
Yeah, I agree with that because I'm in fairly regular contact with the labels over there, and wow, I mean it's really concentrated with like 10 bands, but nine and a half of those 10 are just awesome.
Yeah,
Um, yeah. Now I'm going to get personal again. I'm coming to Amsterdam for the first time in my life in like a month and a half. Now I know you don't live in Amsterdam, but is there a place you can recommend where one can get a cold beer or buy some God Dethroned CDs?
yeah. There is still record stores in Amsterdam you can go to. I don't know where, to be honest, because I don't live there. I live far away from Amsterdam. And there is some cool places where you can go to. There is a venue called the Milky Way,
Oh,
which is a very well-known venue. You just need to check online if there's metal shows playing. There is also heavy metal bars where you can go to. There's always this well-known pub called the Bulldog, which is notorious for drinking, basically. So perhaps you like that.
yeah.
It's a tourist attraction. Yeah, you will find enough places that you will like. There's metal bars. There's places where you can see bands, like I said, the Milky Way Club. Yeah, I think you will enjoy it there, man. Really.
Yeah, I hope so too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that will be all from me for this time. I want to congratulate you on the Judas Paradox. It's really a great album. I'm loving it and I'm hoping to buy it while in Amsterdam. It would mean a lot to me. And I don't know, last words are yours. Call upon the world to check the Judas Paradox.
Yeah, everybody who hasn't heard the two singles yet that are out, please check it out. Check them out. They are great, I think. This Friday, there will be a third single called "The Hanged Man." It will be out this Friday,
Lovely.
somewhere by the end of the afternoon. And then next week, on the 6th of September, we will have the album out, the Judas Paradox. Yeah, I think it's a killer album. Check it out, and we'll be coming by on tour very soon,
Yeah.
definitely.
Oh, yeah. Will there be a video for the Hangman?
And there will be a visualizer because we
Uh-huh.
already did 2 videos. It would be too much to do too many videos because the promotional budget is meant for 2 videos. So there will be a visualizer, and the song will be out on
Okay.
the stream.
Oh, yeah. And bonus question: corpse paint, will it remain a standard feature, or was it just for the 2 videos?
There is a discussion going on within the band. Some people want to use it always, and some people do not want to use it. So this is not this is not finalized yet.
Okay. Okay, that's it. Thank you very much for this interview, and I wish you all the best with the new album, with the tour, and in your personal life.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me, and hopefully we'll meet one day on the road, man.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you
All
very
right.
much.
Bye
Bye
bye.
bye.